Greetings guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. We are currently a couple of weeks into Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. I realize that I have for some reason not yet said that in a video, so happy Pride. I hope you are celebrating if you can be. And Pride Month has been off to a bit of a rocky start for a number of reasons, but over on social media, there is something that has been happening that has been so absolutely infuriating. There has been a series of events that has led to a lot of frustration and infighting and just like bashing heads and fighting between people within the community and a lot of invalidation, and it's just been a bit of a nightmare. And that of course is the series of queer women who have come out over the past couple of weeks saying that they are dating men. And this has led to a lot of queer people feeling betrayed and lied to, and we're seeing the word queer baiting being thrown around a lot once again, and it's just so frustrating and upsetting to see happen, because obviously dating a man does not take away... Tamagotchi always beeps at the most annoying of times, doesn't it? And it's just so frustrating and annoying and upsetting, because obviously dating a man does not take away from your queerness. And so the fact that this has been such a central conversation during Pride Month, when there's so much other shit, is like, what the fuck is going on? What's going on? And so I wanted to have a little bit of a dive into this and a bit of a chat about everything that is going on and all of the things people are saying, and just sort of bi erasure, biphobia, and pride. Because we really need to get into it, because it's getting out of hand. And if you enjoy this video, please do not forget to hit subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, etc. I do greatly appreciate it. I am trying to hit 500k by the end of the year, so I appreciate your help. And yeah, okay, let's have a little look at what's been going on. To start off with, we have to look at the first domino, the event that happened that I think has led to the level of yelling and frustration and use of the word queer baiting, and that is Jojo Siwa and her relationship with Chris Hughes. Now, if you have somehow managed to avoid this whole saga, you clearly do not spend anywhere near as much time on the internet as I do, so I will catch you up a little bit. So basically, Jojo Siwa, who is 23, went into the Big Brother house in the UK, and shortly into her being there, this older man called Mickey Rourke, he is an actor, I believe, was terrible towards her. He said homophobic slurs, he effectively threatened to assault her and turn her straight, and said that by the end of being on the show, she would no longer be a lesbian. And then after this happened, she was obviously very shaken up, and she had a little bit of a cry, because of course you would. That's so scary and so upsetting. And during this, Chris Hughes, who is 33, he was on Love Island and now came into Big Brother, I would imagine, to try to keep some relevancy. He stepped in and stood up for her. He comforted her, told her it was okay, kind of was like, you know, don't listen to him. We love you. We support you. Like, we're here for you. And just became someone that she felt safe around. He offered her support and protection. And so after this, they developed a bit of a closer relationship. Jojo and him started getting closer. He was being more intimate with her, and she was sort of reciprocating that. They were like cuddling and just being very close. This sparked a lot of online conversation, because at the time Jojo Siwa was in a relationship with someone, and people were watching this and being like, oh my god, she's basically just cheating on her partner on live television, which was further emphasized when she came out whilst on the show, saying that she no longer identified as a lesbian and she rather would go with queer and say that she was queer instead. People were like, oh my god, imagine dating someone and then while they're on a show and they're like cuddling up to this man, they come out and say they're not a lesbian. I would be so livid. Keeping in mind what people aren't mentioning here is that they wrote letters to each other and her partner didn't say like, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you, none of that. And Jojo was like, hey y'all, the hell? So after the attack that she went onto, her partner didn't actually send very much support into the house, which I think definitely did not help the situation, because in this case, Jojo has been like attacked for being who she is. Her sexuality, like she came under fire for that. She was like actively discriminated against. And then this man stepped in and like offered her protection and safety. And then her own partner didn't offer her that support. So like naturally she's going to feel more safe with this man who actually offered her the emotional support that she required when no one else was doing that. But anyway, after the show ended, Jojo broke up with her partner at an event. She said that it was not because of Chris Hughes. She said that their relationship was purely platonic. They were just like really close, platonic soulmates, best friends, and she's really glad that she met him. Then fast forward a little bit later, only a few weeks, we are now at the very start of Pride Month. She announces that they are in fact romantically involved and they started uploading photos together and she's talking about how much she loves him and they're very happy together, etc. And this has sparked such a huge conversation and so many people being upset. There's a lot of people calling her a queer beta, which is absurd considering up until this point, all the people that she has publicly dated have been women and non-binary people. So like, what's going on? You suddenly date one man and all of a sudden your entire history and your entire sexuality is erased and you've been doing it all for publicity? What the fuck? Go away. People are mad because her leaving and dating a man is just proving Mickey Rourke right, that like she wasn't a lesbian by the end of the show. How dare she like give in to this hate speech? It became such a massive conversation to the point where Miley Cyrus referenced it and made a joke at her expense at a show the other night where she said she was gonna go into the closet and look for Jojo Siwa to bring her back out.
Enjoy coming out of the closet. If this Pride is the time for you, it's Miley. I just want to tell you, have an amazing World Pride. Is it a month? It should be a year. It should be infinite. All right, I'm going back to get some more pretzels and find Jojo Siwa and bring her back out.
And then Jojo responded with like a heartfelt message saying, you know, that she was a bit hurt by seeing this because she's always looked up to Miley and she is proud of who she is and she's still figuring herself out and life is a journey, but she like forgives Miley and understands it wasn't done out of malicious, and for some reason people got mad at her for that and said she doesn't know how to take a joke and she's all just faking everything, and it's a lot. People are just throwing so much weight at her and so many expectations, completely forgetting the fact that this is a 22-year-old woman, right? She has spent her entire life in the spotlight. She became like a TV personality when she was very, very young, and she has never, ever left the public eye. It's hard to figure yourself out and find out who you are. We all make mistakes. We all go on journeys. We all have to figure things out. But usually we do it on our own time. We do it by ourselves, with ourselves. And she has had to do all of that with millions of people watching her. And it's not fair to put different expectations on her just because she is a celebrity. She's still a person. She is still a young person who has never had the time or space to figure out who she is. She thought she was a lesbian. Now she realizes that she's not. Okay, fine. That's fine. It happens. We all figure things out about each other as life goes on, and that's okay. And she does not deserve to have so many people throw so much malicious at her just because she figured out something that a lot of people are still figuring out at her age. There is so much to say about this entire situation that is not entirely relevant to this video, and I could talk about Jojo Siwa for a very, very long time, but that is not the intention of this video. So I'm going to just put a brief sort of statement on this entire ordeal because I feel like I want to share my perspective. And I would love to hear your thoughts and your perspective and where you all sit on this, because I know a lot of people are feeling very differently about the entire situation. And I Just obviously, firstly, would like to state and remind everyone that Jojo Siwa dating a man does not erase her queerness. She's not a lesbian, but she is still queer. And her dating a man does not remove that. And so if everyone could stop saying that it does, that would be fantastic. Secondly, the worrisome aspect of this that people seem to be like overlooking a lot just because it benefits them is the fact that like there's a 10-year age gap between these two people, right? Like Jojo Siwa is 22 and she has grown up in the spotlight, as I said, and she has always been someone who has to like look after herself and be strong and like be a persona. And now she's in a situation where someone has attacked her and she's had to be vulnerable for like the first time in front of an audience, and someone comes in and protects her for the first time. She has been allowed to be vulnerable for the first time. And like naturally, that is going to feel so good and so comfortable. You know, it's like I said, no one else was offering her that support except this man. So obviously she kind of went with him and developed this connection to him. And he is 10 years older than her. There is a power dynamic in this situation that very much does exist. He came in and was the savior, and also he has 10 years on her. He was able to like start pushing boundaries and like making her feel safe and get her into a position where he was also benefiting from her. As I said, he's on the show. I don't know shit about Love Island. I don't know who this man is or how popular he is or whatever, but I can't imagine Love Island relevancy is very long lasting. And I very much can't imagine he would do anything in order to stay relevant. And so it makes sense to me to take this opportunity to take advantage of someone who is going to keep you in the spotlight. And this is further emphasized by the fact that it's just been announced that they are going to do a reality show together. So, you know, me personally, I think Jojo needs to step back away from the spotlight and away from the public eye and just figure herself out on her own. She needs to find out who's actually there for her and who she actually is away from the public eye. And I know that she probably doesn't really know how to do that because she's never done it, but that's what I need her to do. And I hope that she is able to do because she really, really deserves that. And I think in talking about this conversation of him being 10 years older and having this like relationship where Jojo was potentially groomed and it's not like a healthy dynamic at all. A lot of people online come in and say, they're two adults. She's an adult. Adults can't be groomed. She's 22. Shut up, maybe, actually. Adults absolutely can be groomed. You can be groomed by someone the same age as you. You can be groomed by someone younger than you. Grooming is not exclusive to an adult and a child, because otherwise adults would never end up in abusive relationships, would they? Grooming is not exclusive to an age dynamic. Grooming can happen to anyone, by anyone. And I need everyone to realize that and sit with that, all right? The age gap here just facilitates in that. People definitely have to look at it and keep that open as a possibility and not just jump on it and make her into this massive villain when no one's giving any time of day to anyone else who is involved, you know? Anyway, Jojo Siwa, still queer. That whole drama had a lot of biphobia that existed in it, a lot of just problematic shit, and a lot of just people bullying a young person just because it's fun to bully her. And that really, I think, did set in motion the reaction that has happened to a lot of the things that have followed. And the next event in this chain of events is Fletcher and the song that she released. Now, I do not know much about Fletcher. If I'm completely honest, my music sphere does not cross over with it anymore. My music sphere is very much just K-pop and Halsey and not very much else. All I know about Fletcher is that her audience is predominantly queer women, very largely made up of lesbians in particular, and that she is a queer woman. And that is the extent of my knowledge of Fletcher. And then on the 5th day of Pride Month, she dropped a song called Boy for her upcoming album, Would You Still Love Me If You Knew Me? And it caused a very large amount of outrage. And this time it was for very good reason. This song is about Fletcher falling in love with a boy. But the problem doesn't lie in the fact that she has fallen in love with a boy and that she is in a hetero-presenting relationship. The problem lies in how the song expresses that. And what I mean by that is the first verse How this song opens is, I've been sitting on a secret and I don't think I can keep it anymore. I've been hiding out in Northern California where nobody knows who I was before, where they won't judge me in the morning. Which is a wild thing to say about being in a hetero-presenting relationship. Are you kidding me? You're hiding out somewhere where they won't judge you, a woman, for dating a man. I'm hiding in Northern California because it's the only place they won't judge me for being in what appears to be a straight relationship. Girl, what the fuck? And then it carries on into the chorus, which goes, and I know it's not what you wanted to hear, and it wasn't on your bingo card this year. Well, it wasn't on mine. I fell in love. And it wasn't with who I thought it would be, and I'm scared of what you'll think of me. His lips were soft. I had no choice. I kissed a boy. Which is obviously in pretty poor taste, right? Like, using the words, I'm scared of what you'll think of me, when expressing being in a hetero-presenting relationship is just really not the move. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think we should be saying that, especially in this format, you know? Like, people were naturally and rightfully very outraged by this, especially because it did come out literally 5 days into Pride Month. Like, I'm sorry, you are releasing a song in Pride Month where you are coming out as dating a man and saying that it has scared you, that it is scarier to be coming out as dating a man than it is to be dating a woman in Pride Month? Are you being fucking for real right now, Fletcher? What the fuck are you doing? Why did you think that was a good idea? Oh my god. Think things through for literally half a second. It is incredibly harmful to be playing into this narrative that conservatives are constantly pushing. Like, you hear them say it all the time. I react to conservatives saying this on a regular basis, which is shit like, being straight is cancelable now, and you have to be gay in today's society. I am oppressed for being straight at this point. I can't get a job if I'm straight. How people look at me when they find out that I'm straight. Like, they sit here and act as though being straight in today's society means that you are the minority and it's scary to come out as straight. That is a conservative rhetoric that they are constantly trying to push. And then you're out here and releasing a song that is enforcing that. You are releasing a song to your queer audience during Pride Month, heavily enforcing a conservative idea. Obviously, this meant a lot of people were angry and leaving comments on her Instagram posts. There were a lot of tweets happening. There was a really big discussion about it. And so she made a 5-minute long TikTok responding to all of this conversation and explaining herself and her intentions, which this happened a week after the song came out too, by the way. I don't know why she waited so long to talk about it, but sure, whatever. Maybe she was waiting for it to blow over, then found out that it wasn't gonna blow over. In the TikTok, she explained the intention of the song and what it means to her and why she wrote it and released it. And she was saying that, you know, the song wasn't targeted to like a general audience. The song was about her own experience with her own fans. She knows that her audience are largely sapphic women, a lot of lesbians in her audience. She has created her art around being a queer woman. A lot of her music is about loving women. A lot of her online presence and her label and her brand and herself as an artist is very centered around being a queer woman. And so this song expresses the anxiety she had about coming forward and sharing that she was dating a man because she was worried how her audience would take it.
I am fully aware that it is not brave and it is not scary to share with the world at large about a straight passing heteronormative relationship in this political climate, in this world that we are in right now. I am aware that that is not scary to share. What felt scary for me was sharing with my community and my world where people have only experienced and known me a certain way. I felt really nervous that I would let people down and that I would disappoint them and that my queerness wouldn't be queer enough.
I have talked about this before in my video I did about biphobia a couple months back, and how I relate to this struggle in a sense, right? Of like, people are biphobic and people do have expectations, and if you are a queer woman and you talk a lot about being queer and you come out as dating a man, people are going to come out and, you know, start saying you were faking being gay, that you're straight now, that you've turned your back on your community. We saw it with jojo siwa, as just mentioned, and I will be talking a bit more about it with others as the video goes on. And I spoke about how, like, when I got back into like dating people, I was worried about if I, you know, ended up in a relationship with a man, I was worried about telling people that and having people question my sexuality and my brand and my identity, etc. And so I understand that being a little fear that you have in, you know, it's not fun to be invalidated and have people question you and like deny your sexuality and mislabel you and just get mad at you for, you know, being yourself. And even though she has never said that she is a lesbian, obviously people do have that expectation and put that label on her. I am constantly called a lesbian. People constantly assume that I'm a lesbian, even though I have on multiple occasions constantly said that I am not a lesbian. I have dated men, but people put queerness into boxes, and we'll talk about that a little bit shortly. So I understand the anxiety about coming out as being in a hetero presenting relationship to your largely queer audience when your brand is about being queer. However, this is not the way to go about it at all, for so many different reasons. For starters, it's Pride Month. Starting Pride Month with coming out as dating a man feels intentional and is just really fucking weird and so inappropriate. Like, this is a month about queer rights and queer people wanting to be seen and heard, and especially in the current political climate where, you know, queer rights are in danger and we are like under attack more than we have been in a very long time. It's just in such poor taste to then make it about you and be like, but I'm coming out as dating a man and it's really hard for me. Like, read the fucking room, bro. This is not the time. At all. And on top of just releasing the song during Pride Month, releasing it as the lead single with merch makes this entire explanation seem so insincere and just elevates the level of problematic tenfold. You cannot sit here and say that, you know, this is about my personal experience with like how I'm feeling afraid of coming out to my fans as being in a relationship with a man, because, you know, people tear women apart when they come out as dating men after, you know, people perceive them as lesbians, whatever, and then release it as the song that is being pushed for playlisting and radio play, right? Like, coming out and saying that she wasn't trying to say that it's harder to come out and say you're dating a man than it is dating a woman, just that this is her experience with her audience. And then making it the song that is being pushed for playlisting and radio play. Like, girl, you cannot hold both of those ideas, right? If it is just for your audience and just for how you're feeling and how you want to express your emotions to your audience, you cannot have that as your lead single. This song is being pushed to general listeners. This song is being put on playlists. This song is being put on the radio. This song is being listened to by people who don't know who you are. They have no context. There is no context. It doesn't mention anywhere in this song that you're queer. Like, people are going to listen to the lyrics, and I'm scared of what you'll think of me. His lips were soft. I had no choice. I kissed a boy, with no context or no knowledge of who Fletcher is or her queer identity or queer music or anything. That is going to be the first thing they hear from her. And all they're going to take away from that is, oh, this woman is afraid of being straight. This woman is afraid of being judged in today's society for liking a boy. And that is a very conservative idea. Whose agenda is this enforcing? Which side are we validating with lyrics like that? If you are putting this out to a general audience, who is going to latch onto these lyrics and use it to push their political agenda? It's not queer people. Queer people aren't the ones who are going to be finding validation in this. Queer people aren't the ones who are going to be taking this and using it to make a political statement. Conservatives will, though. It fits their narrative perfectly. It's just so baffling and frustrating, and I don't know why she didn't think about it and why no one thought about it, why anyone thought this was a good idea, let alone a good idea to release during Pride Month of all times. If you are going to write a song about being a non-lesbian sapphic woman who is afraid of facing biphobia, if you want to write a song about experiencing biphobia and like your loved ones invalidating your sexuality, then you can do that. But firstly, don't do it as a lead single, okay? And maybe don't do it during Pride Month if you are talking about the struggles of dating a man. Like, have it as a B-side, release it with a statement and a conversation and like have a chat about it and like make your intentions well known and have this conversation. And also be more specific in the lyrics and actually mention your queerness and the fact that you are still queer, because some of the lyrics fit way too well into the "you just haven't found the right guy yet" rhetoric. Like, the bridge is, "If I will or won't do this again, maybe I've changed or maybe it's just him, but I leaned in and kissed a boy." And then other lyrics such as, "I'll admit I don't know how to label it. You can think that I'm a hypocrite. That's cool. I'm just following my heart. It is what it is." And even the chorus line, "I fell in love and it wasn't with who I thought I would be." All of these lyrics have very heavy undertones of "I was a lesbian and found a boy who changed that." Like, she has never actively identified as a lesbian. She has always been queer or bisexual, or I don't know what term she used to label with, but I know she has never been a lesbian. But using lyrics like this very much says like, I never thought that I would date a boy. I never thought I liked boys. I never expected to be here. I always thought that I was going to love women, but then I found this one boy and everything changed. And that is not a good rhetoric to be pushing. We shouldn't be encouraging that idea. Like, if you are writing a song where you can very easily have people take away, firstly, dating a man in 2025 is scarier than dating a woman as a woman. And secondly, lesbians just need to find the right man, you've done something wrong. Like, that's not how we should be presenting ourselves and our message, right? As I said, it's okay to like change your label and figure yourself out. Like, even if she was identifying as a lesbian and she figured out that she wasn't, that's fine. But it's one thing to like realize you're not actually a lesbian, and another to kind of like say that, you know, this one boy changed everything. This one man like realized that you aren't a lesbian. Like, that's not the narrative we should be pushing. And when you weren't a lesbian to begin with, and like you're writing a song that makes it seem like you are just to have impact, makes it worse. Like saying, "Don't know how to label it, you can think I'm a hypocrite, and I will or won't do this again, maybe I've changed or maybe it's just him," when she has never been a lesbian and never identified as a lesbian, is just a really weird move, because nothing changed. I don't know how to label it. What were you labeling it before? Because you weren't a lesbian, so your label doesn't change. If you were bi and identifying as bi, you're not changing that unless you're saying that you're straight now, right? Like, unless you were identifying as a lesbian and now you are not, your label doesn't really change unless you're saying that you are straight now. In which case, that's really playing the "you just need to meet the right man" card. Your attraction hasn't changed. The only thing that has actually changed is that you are in a relationship now and nothing else has changed. And acting as though dating a boy has changed everything and your identity, it's just so problematic and so frustrating to see, and it plays into homophobia, it plays into biphobia, it plays into a conservative narrative. It's just not a good thing to be doing and was not thought through at all and was executed so poorly. If you are going to be singing a song about this, if you are going to be talking about the fear of facing biphobia as someone who has, you know, made their brand around being queer and has actively talked about their queerness for so long, then like you can do that, but you have to do it better. Don't do it as a lead single where it's going to be pushed to general audiences. Keep it as something that is between you and your listeners who know who you are and they know your story and they have context to the song. And maybe change the lyrics a little bit. Like, I don't know, instead of "I will or won't do this again, maybe I've changed or maybe it's just him," maybe try for like, "Although I have always liked men, didn't think I would love one again," or "I will or won't do this again, I haven't changed, but maybe I'll marry him." Like, I'm just pulling these off the top of my head, right? I didn't have time to sit down and try to write a song, but I feel like that would be better, right? It's not lyrical geniusness on my behalf, but I would argue it's also definitely not on her behalf either. But like having the idea that, you know, dating a man doesn't change who you are, important. Maybe you didn't think you were ever going to date a man again. but you have to acknowledge that your attraction to them never stopped. So thus the like, I've always liked men, didn't think I would love one again. You never stopped being attracted to them, but you maybe didn't think you were going to ever fall in love with one again. And I feel like that's an okay thing to point out. But to say that you didn't think you'd ever love a man and like you're so shocked that you did without the context of the fact that you have always liked, you know what I mean? Like there's so much context missing from the song that pushes such a terrible and unhelpful narrative. And it just feels like it was done for shock value. And that is so incredibly harmful to the queer community and to the entire audience that she has built. Something else that really did bother me about this release that wasn't on what she did was how I found out about it. Because I found out by opening Twitter on the day that it was released, and I didn't screenshot this because I never think about it. I like open Twitter, I scroll on Twitter, and I like don't think about making a video until like days later, and I'm like, I should make a video about that, and then I can't find the tweets that I saw, so my bad. But on the day where the song came out, I opened Twitter to tweets sort of being like, can't believe we lost another lesbian, and first jojo siwa, now fletcher. And like Fletcher coming out as dating a man was not on my bingo card. And just a lot of people being mad at her for dating a man. And so naturally, initially, I was a bit mad because I was like, why are people being biphobic? You know, like she's allowed to date a man. She's still queer. Stop claiming that she's no longer queer just because she's dating a man. And then I found out what the song was about and was like, okay, you know what? You're all right to be mad, but maybe be mad about the right thing. Stop making this because she's dating a man. Make it about the actual way she presented that issue. Because by just tweeting like you're mad that she's dating a man, you are completely neglecting the issue and actually proving the point. Like you are the people she wrote the song about, and although the song is problematic and she shouldn't have written it, I also don't think we should be proving her point, you know? That carries on very nicely, actually, into the fire that just kept burning that started a few days later, which was when Billie Eilish was spotted kissing Nat Wolff, a man, by the paparazzi, and the photo was posted on Twitter, and it went so viral, and it was the most infuriating couple days on Twitter that I have ever experienced, to be honest. I found out about this through this one tweet that just read, I guess being bisexual is pretty cool until it's time to actually date the same gender. And this has almost 300,000 likes. And there are thousands of tweets that express similar opinions to this. Billie Eilish, when she actually has to eat that girl for lunch, and it's just this girl going, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry.
Oh, I'm not hungry. Oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry.
And that also got a lot of likes. There's just a lot of people in general just saying that queer women are faking being queer for publicity. They are faking being queer in order to gain and grow queer audiences. They are calling real people queer baiters. And once again, I don't know why we have to keep going in this circle and saying this over and over, but real people cannot queer bait. Real people do not owe you anything. The amount of times I have seen people call celebrities fake queers over the past few days has absolutely just driven me up the fucking wall. I actually made a video about Billie Eilish and queerbaiting allegations like years ago when she released that music video that everyone got mad at her for. So if you want some of my opinions on Billie Eilish and queerbaiting, you can go watch that video. It's so frustrating to see so many people calling women, especially fake queers, because they've never publicly dated women before. Because like, what do you think bisexual means? What do you think a sapphic woman who's not a lesbian, like what do you think that means? Dating men is part of that identity. You cannot call someone a fake queer when they are literally just doing something that is part of their sexual identity. Billie is not a lesbian. She is bisexual. She likes men and women and non-binary people. Like, she just likes people. And the only relationships she has been in publicly have been with men, right? Sure. How many relationships is that? 3, maybe? She's what? 24? What are you expecting from her, right? She doesn't have to do anything publicly. People do not owe you anything. You are not entitled to know people's relationships. She may have dated women, hooked up with women in the privacy of her own life, and you just don't know about it because it's not your fucking business. No one was even meant to know about this. The paparazzi caught that. That was a photo taken and shared without their consent. And even if she hasn't been with women, that doesn't matter That doesn't matter at all. Like, it does not change her sexuality at all. The people that you have been with does not change the people that you are attracted to. How many people have dated or hooked up with every single person they've been attracted to? Pretty much no one, right? Like, that's not really a thing that's happening. You don't act on every single attraction that you have. Not to mention that bisexual people can have a gender preference. You can be more interested in men and still be queer, right? You could have a ratio of like 90% leaning towards men, but you are still queer because you are still attracted to some women. And again, it's none of your fucking business anyway. It's so frustrating too, because isn't this the whole thing around sexuality, right? In this entire conversation is that you do not choose who you are attracted to. You do not choose who you fall in love with. It kind of just happens. You don't know who it's going to be with. Maybe it's with a man, maybe it's with a woman, maybe it's a non-binary. You don't know. You don't choose that. It just happens. It's not really entirely within your control. And let's be completely honest, it is so much easier to date a man than it is to date a woman in the society that we live in, that is built the way that it is built, in the way that we are raised. We all experience sexuality and attraction and the patriarchy and everything, and we experience that very differently, and we cannot be projecting our own experiences onto anyone else. After scrolling through Twitter for a day and seeing non-stop bullshit about this, went onto my own Twitter and I posed the question of, if a bi woman only dated women, would you all still claim they're lying about being bi? Because you see it a lot, right? Like, these women are saying that they're bisexual and then they're kissing men and suddenly they're lying about being queer. They're going out of their way to just like build queer audiences. They're queer baiting, they're faking it, blah, 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 blah. Frustrating, annoying bullshit, because it's fun to just rat on women, I guess. And then I quickly followed up with a tweet that Halsey made in 2017 that I've had to reference an upsettingly large amount of times. That was just, so if I'm dating a guy, I'm straight, and if I date a woman, I'm a lesbian. The only way to be a hashtag true bisexual is to date two people at once. Because that's accurate, right? That reflects what we've seen here very well. That is how we largely treat non-lesbian sapphic women, is that you are whatever singular sexuality of the gender you're dating. If you're dating a man, then you are straight. If you're dating a woman, then you are a lesbian. And there's no fluidity in that. Like, once you're dating one person, the attraction you feel for other people completely stops existing. And we all know that that's not how this fucking works. If you were dating a man, you are still queer. If you were dating a woman, you are still queer. Like, nothing changes. Respect people's identities and who they actually are, and it's none of your fucking business. It's so frustrating to sit here and watch queer women feel excluded from and be ridiculed by their own community, and like keeping in mind that a majority of the queer community is made up of bisexual, pansexual, like queer people. It is made up of multi-gender attracted people. That is a majority of the community. And so like when you are sitting here and just shutting people out and saying that they're faking being queer, you are like isolating so many people. And another question I have about this that I've never seen come up, right? Because people don't like asexual, aromantic people. That is a group of people that are very often excluded from all queer conversation. I've made a video about that before. Maybe I'll make another one again. If you are interested in another asexual video, let me know. If you are a woman and you are dating a man, that makes you straight. Automatically. It doesn't matter your identity, it makes you straight. If you're a woman and you are dating a woman, doesn't matter your identity, you are a lesbian. So by that logic, would that not mean every single person is aro-ace? You can't be out here having these assumptions on like, if you're dating this person, that means your sexuality is this. Because then you have to apply that to people who aren't dating anyone. Like, I just find it so interesting that you understand the concept of sexuality and being attracted to people when you aren't in a relationship, but then as soon as you're in a relationship, you just expect that to turn off. Like, I don't understand where your head's at. Obviously, being single does not make you aro or ace, but for argument's sake, I find it interesting that that never comes into play, because people are acephobic, people are biphobic, people just like to put labels on people for no goddamn fucking reason. And it happens so often. So obviously, throughout this video, I have mainly spoken about queer women who have come out as dating men and are now being labeled straight and queer baiters. But it does also go the other way with women who are bi, who are in relationships with women, being labeled and presented as lesbians. Throughout this entire thing, on the tweet that I made, I found out that there is someone who I have always thought was a lesbian, because that's all I've ever seen them be called on the internet, who is actually bisexual, and that's Kristen Stewart. I have thought Kristen Stewart was a lesbian for the longest time. Every time I see anyone talk about Kristen Stewart and her sexuality and her relationships, I always see them calling her a lesbian. She is a lesbian icon. She is a lesbian queen. She is the lesbian that we need. She is lesbian Jesus. Like, Kristen Stewart is the lesbian. I have seen people call her a lesbian so many times, and I have contributed to this because that is overall the general consensus, and I just assumed that, you know, if everyone is calling her a lesbian, then she must be a lesbian. So I also presumed she was a lesbian, and I think have referred to her as such. I may have even referred to her as a lesbian in a video a few weeks back, because that's the assumption that I was under. It's so fascinating because obviously what happened is that she came out as being queer. Like, she explicitly has come out multiple times and said that she is queer, that she is fluid. She's made a joke about liking both.
Can go both ways.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, same. So I would say...
She has never identified as a lesbian, but obviously she is with a woman. She's engaged to a woman, so people slap lesbian on her. They're like, she's in a lesbian relationship, lesbian. And people just run with it. Somewhere along the lines, it kind of got lost. People see she's dating a woman, they said lesbian, and then other people saw that and they say lesbian. And then all of a sudden everyone is calling her a lesbian. No one's thought to check because it's just an easy assumption to make. It's so interesting and so upsetting at the same time. And I am definitely now going to make an effort, and like, when people call women lesbians, I'm gonna go check if that's true or not, because I don't want to be mislabeling people. I don't want to be assigning people an identity just because of who they are presently dating, because that's not okay. And during this, a lot of people coming out and being like, yeah, this is like biphobia, like how people assume Kristen Stewart is a lesbian. I've seen so many people only just finding out now that she's not a lesbian. And this has happened so many times with so many people. And it really does just need to be a conversation, and people really do need to start questioning the information that we are getting online and not just running with things. Like, it's so easy to just be like, oh, the masses say this, so it must be this. And this is such a perfect case of that. And we've all just kind of gone along with it and just agreed upon it because it was easy, because it made sense. These past couple of weeks have been so exhausting to be queer. And the fact that it's during Pride Month really adds insult to injury there, you know? Like, there's just been so much infighting, and it is so annoying and frustrating because, like, everyone is just yelling at each other about what is and isn't valid, and like labeling each other and invalidating people's identities and pulling each other down. And there's just so much negativity and like fighting amongst each other and people pulling each other down, when right now more than ever we need the support of one another. Like, we need to stand together as a community. We are all under fire right now. There are so many more places to put our energy, and by fighting with each other, we are giving the oppressors more power. We are giving them exactly what they want. We need to stand together and fight for each other, because what else is the point? Why are we spending our time hating queer women and telling them that they are not allowed a place in our community because they aren't queer enough, when instead we could be fighting against the anti-trans laws that are being passed, when instead we could be fighting against the hate crimes that are happening, when instead we can be having conversations about the fact that so many more brands are not participating in Pride this year because it is no longer seen as profitable to be queer. There are so many conversations that need to be happening from the queer community, and we need to all be standing together and supporting each other. And the fact that we've spent so much time dragging each other down, what the fuck are we doing? Sort it the fuck out. Because it's like, it's not on and it needs to stop. Be yourself. Figure yourself out. Take your time on your journey. Targeting people in your own community does not help anyone. Targeting people in your own community is just giving power to the oppressor, not to yourself. Dragging other people down does not make you any bigger. It just drags us all down. We are all in this together. I hope that you are able to find like places where you feel safe and comfortable being yourself. And I hope that you are able to get the love and support that you deserve. I hope that you are able to find some sort of safety and community during Pride Month and every other month of the year. Let queer people exist. Let everyone exist. Hold hands and fight the fight together. Call people out on their bullshit, but do it in a way that is actually helpful and progressive and not harmful. That's all I have to say. I hope that you enjoyed this video. A massive thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Arsene, Stella, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Prismatic Petey, Sushi, M.A. Ping the Games, Phil the Duck, Jessie, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Lady Nutbar, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Samuel, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to be on Patreon, you go to patreon.com/savvycat. For only £1 a month, you get my videos 1 to 5 days early and with no ads for those days. I appreciate it greatly. Happy Pride Month, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.